It feels awesome. You know, these kids have worked their tails off for a long time, and things didn't go exactly as planned in a lot of ways, and they kept their head down and they kept swinging and they kept swinging, and they got right back in the fight. And it's a huge reward for those guys. They've earned this opportunity, and it's going to be fun to watch them play.
Looks to me like the defensive line is a lot more active in the last couple of weeks. What have you seen, and how do you think they're better?
I just think that it was a young group at the beginning, and they're growing up and they're maturing through the season, and I think they finally found their groove, and they finally trusted their technique and built some confidence, and were able to cut it loose the last couple of weeks. So it'll be good to see them continue to do that.
What about for these guys getting with the way this whole year's gone, crazy year, some forgettable games, but to be in this position where one game wins you a championship and you get to do it in an NFL stadium and national TV in Vegas, it just seems like the way this has all come together here is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing, and I think for a lot of these guys, some of these guys have never been in an NFL stadium, never watched an NFL game. For them to get to play in a venue like this, in circumstances like this, with the whole United States watching one football game, it's going to be really awesome. I think these guys understand the stakes. They worked really hard, and they've prepared like they're ready to play a championship game.
I know it's kind of cliche. This is why you come to Boise State to play in championship games like this and stuff. But just with the way the year's gone, to be able to just say this was the goal when the season started, forget the other 12 games, forget the Hail Mary, forget all that, you're still here to play in the championship. What does it mean, I guess, for the coaching staff of these players just to be able to, you're here and who cares about everything else, and win one game and you're a champion?
Yeah, no, I think it's the culmination of a lot of things. That is why everyone gets recruited to come here. That's why coaches come here to win championships. And just to see that, another cliche, right? It's about the process, right? And the process. And these kids have embraced that process in the off season, in January, in the summertime, throughout the year, and they've just kept preparing and letting this thing work itself out, and they've trusted the process, and the process is finally paying dividends for them. So just to be able to go out there and play for a championship game, let alone if things go our way, to win this game on Saturday is it's an amazing thing, but it's a really cool opportunity.
Sorry, I don't know exactly what years you were with what teams, but have you been involved in a conference championship before?
Yeah, a couple at Oregon. That doesn't really matter.
Well, no, I was just asking, is it a different feel to the game, the championship game, than a regular season game?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's much different than a bowl game. A bowl game kind of seems like, a reward at the end of a good season, and there's a lot of other things going on, and this seems more like the NFL playoffs. Like, here we go. We've been in the playoffs for 3 weeks right now. It's been win and go home, or lose and go home, win, and you get to keep playing for 3 weeks now, and this is the end of that bracket right now. So the sense of urgency is high. The stakes are very clear on what winning and losing means. It's a totally different feel.
The fact that when Andy left, like, the portal opened right away, and some of these guys could have left, started to get a head start on their next spot and whatever. And we're seeing that at schools all over the country when coaches are fired. The next day, 20 guys are in the portal. Like, what does it say about this roster, about you guys as coaches, like, that literally not one new player has entered the portal since Andy left?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's just there's great people here, period, in this building, support staff, coaches, players, unbelievable kids here, an unbelievable job recruiting high character kids. I was only a part of a few of them, so I can't take credit for it, but a lot of people have put a lot of due diligence in recruiting really high character kids that really care about their team and really care about football. And then I just think that this group likes being around each other. Coaches like being around the players like being around the coaches like being around players, coaches like being around coaches. It's just a really good cohesive group, and it's a credit to those kids. Like, a lot of kids, they could have just folded their tents a long time ago and said on to the next, but they didn't. Like I said, they just kept swinging, and they've got rewarded for it.
And with what the players have gone through this year, just like I mentioned, just everything that's happened, how badly, I guess, do you guys as coaches, I know you want to win it for yourself too, but for these players to be able to, through all this, be on stage with the confetti falling and hold that trophy, this would go down as one of the more, it already has, but one of the more memorable seasons in school history here if you guys win this on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's winning this game would mean a tremendous amount to the community. It would mean a tremendous amount to the seniors, and then just to show these young guys like, hey, this is what happens. This is what happens when you do things the right way, when you keep going, when you follow the process, good things will happen, and good things happen to good people, and you earn everything you get. And that would just be a icing on the cake to keep teaching those lessons to this team.
You mentioned kind of the playoff mode you've been in the last few weeks, practically the entire month of November, going into a game like this, having been in that mode for so long, how does that help you guys?
Yeah, I just think that 4 weeks ago or whatever, everybody was dealt a lot of different circumstances around here, and we got some new life when a few teams beat some other teams in the conference, and like you said, it's just been in the playoffs, and these guys now, I mean, they understood 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, here's the urgency at hand. Like we need to get this done, and we need to get it done now. No more waiting around. And you're not a freshman anymore. We got a ton of freshmen playing, freshmen and sophomores, redshirt freshmen playing. I think it's like 4th in the country or something like that. You guys ain't freshmen anymore. You've played a lot of games. Time to grow up, and they've embraced that, and it's been really cool to watch.
What stands out about UNLV?
Yeah.
Well, obviously they're very explosive on offense, very efficient on offense. And I think a lot of teams you face, it's like, all right, well, they can really throw the ball, but they can't run it very well. They can really run the ball, they can't throw it that well. These guys can do both. They got a freshman quarterback that's been doing an outstanding job. They got a great receiving crew, and they've been running the ball a lot. Very efficient in the red zone, scoring touchdowns, scoring points down there. So it's just an efficient operation that's going to be, well, it's been hard to stop all year, and it's going to be hard for us.
When they played San Jose, I don't know if I've watched it on tape, but when it was live at 1 p.m. Saturday, were you watching that game live?
Yeah, we were kind of flipping back and forth, and one of the days where got to be with my kids in the season, but we were watching a little bit, and it just trying to watch, and I knew I was going to watch the film, but trying to watch and see more or less the tempo and those kind of things going on.
What unique challenges does the go-go offense bring you guys?
Yeah, I mean they have, obviously you guys have watched the film, but there's triple option elements to the run game, which is hard enough to defend in itself, but then they've got a vertical and horizontal passing attack to go along with it. So I think that the combination of they can get in big personnel and also spread stuff and do both is really hard on anybody.
I know he's not necessarily in your D-line, but Ahmed and what he's done. I mean, just coming off the edge to be first team All-League player this year, and everyone knows his story and how raw he is at football, but just to become one of the most dominant, pass rushers in the league this year. I mean, what can you say about what he's done?
No, I mean, for what that guy has grown to, and I mean, shoot, I'm proud of him. It's, he comes over to work pass rush for 20 minutes a day during special teams, and he's a super coachable young man. He's not one of those guys, like you knew he was going to be pretty good, but he's not one of those guys where just because he had a couple sacks in camp, he was going to quit. Like, he wants to be coached. He wants criticism. He wants hard coaching. So I got my hats off to him. He's done a lot of work, man, this season, and it's paid off for him.
UNLV uses multiple running backs, and they've got pretty similar stats. What are the differences? I mean, is there somebody that's faster, somebody that's more up the middle, or is there much difference?
No, I think they run kind of the same plays with all three of them. They've got a couple guys that are a little faster, and number 4 is a bigger guy. So they've got a little thunder and lightning, if you will, but I think that they do a good job of not saying, hey, this guy's getting this play and that guy's getting that play. They do a pretty good job of using their system and using the backs accordingly.
3 forced fumbles in the last 2 games. What has Braxton Feely done to become such an influence there in the line?
No, I think that, once again, he's cut it loose a little bit, and as a young guy, he's a very young guy. He's so worried about being perfect all the time, and the last, I think, 3 or 4 games, he's kind of said, I know what to do now. Let's go play fast, and let's pursue to the ball fast, and let's put a big body on a little body and see what we can do. And, that's how a lot of those fumbles happen, when big bodies hit little bodies and the ball comes stripping loose. So, he's just playing at a different speed right now.
You've got some experience coaching teams with chip on their shoulder, UCF notably. Have you kind of seen similar traits in this team, especially in the last few weeks, about just wanting to prove everybody wrong?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities, and just the way that these guys have handled themselves, not even so much on the field, but off the field with their film study, and it's become a premium for them, and they're in the building and they're working together, and they're just handling their business a different way right now the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that's kind of the same thing we saw at that UCF. Yeah.
Are you getting any? We've heard the players in a little less practice time. Spencer's changed up some stuff. Are you coaches getting to get out of here at all any earlier? And is there any schedule difference for you? Are you guys getting any more? Spencer change anything up on the coaching side?
We get out of here when we get our work done. So some nights are a little earlier, some are a little bit later. But Coach D's done a great job of trying to be efficient with the players and with the coaches as well. I spent some time doing some other things that we need to get done for preparation. But there's been, he's done a great job with the efficiency in the whole operation.
At the end of practice today, Coach talked to the team and mentioned the fact that a lot of the guys that are here were here last year and lost that championship game and what it felt like. Is there anything in this type of atmosphere this week to Boise State having been in several championship games the last few years and UNLV now in their first championship game?
Well, I think that there's always, but it's not like Coach Odom's never been in one either, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I think that there's always a little bit of, when some of the team or most of the team is used to how this thing is going to go down, as opposed to a team that may be there for the first time in a while or whatever. There's an experience factor, but they have a good coaching staff that's been in championship games as well, so they'll have them ready to play. Last
one for you is Spence mentioned post-game against Air Force and then again on Monday how this team's been very resilient. Ran the numbers after the loss at Fresno State. There was a 0.1% chance Boise State would reach the Mountain West championship game. When you think about that probability and what all had to go into it, what does that kind of say about what you all have kind of endured over the last few weeks?
I just think of like that movie Dumb and Dumber, right? So you're saying there's a chance, right? No, but there's when the cards are stacked against you, you either fold up or you go all in, and I think just everybody in the buildings went all in, and it's been really cool to watch.